Hi, this is Dr. Archibald. This is View and Do 4.3 on dialogue, and we're using the Seabrook essay. Okay, so write a one-page response and put it into the comment box for this View and Do. You're listening to this Jing here. So, dialogue, several kinds of dialogue. Summary dialogue, a brief report that suggests a longer conversation, not a quote. Indirect dialogue gives more details than the summary dialogue and gives the feeling of the conversation without quoting it. Direct dialogue, as if you're overhearing the actual dialogue. Its purpose is not as much to convey information as it is to show us the dynamics of the relationships. This dialogue may tell us things, for example, about power, shared power, power taken, power abdicated, power reversed, or even power unrecognized. These use this type of dialogue sparingly because you usually want to indicate some change or emphasis in the emotional geography of the scene. And then there's unsaid dialogue, hidden dialogue, subtext. Read between the lines. After all, sometimes the reader can learn more about a person by what he or she leaves unsaid. Some subtext can be revealed through gestures. The gestures may connote the opposite of what the words are saying at the same time. Actions sometimes speak louder than words. See the conversation from Seabrook's essay that occurs on page 211, the first page of his essay. The two characters in Seabrook's essay, the writer and his mother, talk about Seabrook's childish drawing of their house where the bar is outsized. It sets up the essay and gives us an idea of the character of the two interlocutors. Okay, so from the previous paragraph before the dialogue, eventually I managed to put all the rooms into the square boundaries of my plan. I was proud of my work and showed it to my mother. "Oh dear," she says, and laughed. "What's so funny?" "It's just the size of the bar, darling." She laughed again, light but with a hint of tension. "It's so big. Mrs. Hall will think we're alcoholics." This is the only piece of dialogue in the essay. So it's important. He's using dialogue very strategically here. So how would you describe the power dynamic evidenced in this short exchange between the mother and the boy? Very briefly, there is a lot of knowledge, dread, expectation, pleasure, and suspicion communicated by these three lines of dialogue. When you look at Seabrook's text in the book, you see that the quoted lines are paragraphed and indented. When you write direct dialogue, make sure that you indent every conversational turn and make it its own paragraph. And as simple as it sounds, use "I said," "she said," "he said," whatever, but said instead of something more elaborate. Because we get the idea, or we should get the idea of the emotion of the piece from the dialogue itself. You don't have to tell us. You don't have to beat us over the head with it. We should assume what the tension is, and that's what happens here. This laugh is a physical thing. It's not it carries emotion, but it's not emotional on its face. You aren't telling us how people feel. You're just showing us she laughed. Okay? All right, thanks.